Welcome back, everyone. In today's video, I'm going to cover game 62 of a First Book of Morphy. We have the 18th match game in London, 1858, Paul Morphy versus Johann Lowenthal. We have the Ruy Lopez on the board, and we are in endgame rule number 8, focusing on having a pawn that it is worth a pawn, focusing on the rook getting to the 7th rank in the endgame. So let's go ahead and go over the game. So let's get to the Ruy Lopez position. Okay, d4, e captures d4, e5, knight e4, castles. Knight c5 attacking the bishop on a4. Bishop captures c6. Okay, d captures c6, knight captures d4, knight e6. Here the author comments that Grandmaster M's judged this position as equal 140 years ago. 140 years later, white has more board room with a pawn on e5. So again, white has 1, 2, 3, 4 ranks, right? If you count the 5th one with the pawn on it to develop and for his pieces to maneuver, and black only has 3. Let's see. So white has more board room, okay, and white has better endgame prospects. White has again 1, 2, 3, 4 pawns versus 3 on the king side. So that means that white in the endgame is able to create a passed pawn. So we have knight captures e6, bishop captures e6, queen e2, bishop c5. Okay, knight c3, queen e7, knight e4, threatening to capture the bishop. And also another threat is bishop g5 attacking the queen. And then now the queen will probably have to go back to f8, or black will have to play f6. And now takes. And we have this position here. And then maybe bishop takes, so probably queen f8. Black will probably have to play queen f8. So black plays h6 to prevent bishop g5. So now bishop e3. Black loses a bit of time by swapping on e3. And the pin on the f2 pawn is broken, so white is free to advance f4, f5, and f6. So we have bishop captures e3, queen captures e3. Bishop f5. Black feared white's initiative after castles and f4. So knight g3 attacking the bishop. Bishop captures c2, f4, and g6. So again, white gives up a pawn to start attacking here on the king side and with the e-pawn. Here the author comments that this is black's last chance to castle. Bishop f5 by black. Knight captures f5, g captures f5. Again, let's focus on the pawns now. Now we have 2 isolated pawns. E captures f7, king captures f7, and then queen h3. White avoided a trade of queens while the black king is exposed and looks for an attacking move. From h3, the queen hits the weak pawns on f5 and h6 and could move deeper into black's position on h5. When white captures a kingside pawn, he will gain a passed pawn. Right, so that's the plan for white, to take one of these pawns and then push the pawns forward to gain a passed pawn. So black plays queen f6, rook a to e1, rook h to e8, rook e5, attacking f5. So now the pawn f5 is attacked twice. The author comments that this is a forceful and direct move. White threatens rook f5 while rook e5. Rook captures e5, f captures e5, introduces the other white rook. White also prepares to double the rooks on the e file. Right, so now if rook takes, then queen can take. But again, the thing is, we have rook takes on f5, and then now queen will have to capture on f5. So king g6, rook f to e1, doubling up on the e file. Rook captures e5. Rook captures e5. White's decision not to create a passed pawn by f captures e5 is based on the black king's exposure and some difficulty in lifting the blockade against the pawn. Okay. Rook d8, queen g3, king h7, h3, rook d7, queen e3, coordinating with the rook and preventing rook to d2. b6, black was most likely thinking about advancing his pawn majority than preventing queen a7. King h2, c5, queen e2. A very good move, aiming for rook e6 and then queen h5 with strong threats. The attack on a6 could be coincidental. So black plays queen g6, rook e6 by white, queen g7, and now queen h5 attacking the pawn on f5. So rook d5, b3. The author comments the b pawn was not really under attack since the black queen is stuck to the defense of h6. B3 hinders the potential passed c pawn, black's best source of counterplay. So b5 by black. Black's pieces are sadly tied to the defensive task. So black gives up the a pawn, hoping to make some counterplay with the c pawn. So rook captures a6, rook d6, queen f5 check. Again, after rook d6, the pawn is not defended no more. So queen captures f5 check, queen g6. Black must permit the trade of queens for moving the king back, now loses to rook a8. Queen captures g6, king captures g6, rook a5, rook b6. Now here the author says that this is a mistake. Anytime you're going to defend the pawn, you should leave it up to not the rook, not your most valuable pieces, but to the ones with the less value, right? The most important task for a rook in an endgame with rooks is to take stuff, because that frees the rook to perform other tasks such as taking more stuff. If the rook cannot take something, it should attack something. The very worst job for the rook in the endgame is to play defense. c6 leaves the defensive job to a smaller unit. So if black wants to defend this pawn, he should play c6. So rook b6, g4, now c6, king g3, h5, rook a7, h captures g4, h captures g4, king f6, f5, king e5, rook e7, king d6, f6, then rook b8, g5, rook f8, king f4, okay, c4, bishop captures c4, bishop captures c4, king f5, c3 and rook e3, and now white is in time to take away this pawn. Okay, and here black resigns. So now if, let's say c3, now the rook gets behind this pawn, and then it's pretty much game over, right? Queens, what's now takes, and then now again, white can push his pawn here to distract the king, and then he's gonna start pushing these pawns forward. So again, let me know what you guys thought of this video, and I will see you in the next one. Make sure you like and subscribe.